This is a great initiative taken by global Goans to unite different people, different associations under one platform. Because when we have several associations, we can talk in different languages, though we have one common goal. But the difficulty becomes to achieve it in a unified manner. And I think the initiative taken by Simon in having this global Goans is a great vision to collaborate with all the associations across and build a very strong community network to be the voice of Goa and global Goans globally. Actually, what has attracted me to the association, let me be honest, I had undertaken a tour of Europe, and that was my first tour when I went with Luis Filero, way back in 1993. We met so many people. I'm talking those years, you can think of it, when we had no mobile phones and all. So many Goans who longed to come back to Goa. When we met them, especially the old people, some singing Goan songs, cooking Goan food, and also talking of the stories back home. It was so wonderful, it was so touching, and many wanting to come back, but physically they were unable to come. And many had problems because of getting visas and all at that time. So I could see that eagerness, the longing and the missing which they had, and the affection and the love they had for Goa. And when Simon told me that he wants to have an association like this, and he wants to have this kind of, he has a dream to help the Goans fulfill their aspirations, I said to him, why not, and we can do that. So when he had invited me last year to Qatar, I gladly accepted that invitation for the May Queen Ball, and I was there. We know that Goans are unique all over the world, and Goans many times have held very, very important positions. Even till today they are holding very important positions. Let me be honest with you. Whenever you tell anyone you're a Goan, there's always a different approach, there's a different kind of a thought process, and the warmth and love with which we are received any part of the world, even in our own country, is something so ecstatic, so wonderful, that it can't be described, but it can be felt. And I think that our Goans have left our shores, as Simon has said, not because they wanted to go. There would be a few who might have wanted to migrate for better opportunities, but it is because we lack opportunities, we have job problems, and many have gone because of these kind of needs, always longing to come back home. You would have seen that many people have even come back, invested and built homes, but nobody is living in these homes. They have gone back to their places where they are working, or further migrated from those places to other countries. So I think that we need to see this part of the migration, because don't forget, even when we have in animals or birds, you think of a migratory bird. The migratory bird travels miles and kilometers across seas and across oceans, but comes back home to roost. And this is one of the unique things I think that we go and still long, maybe to travel and to come back home, to sleep on that bed in that corner of our house, on that pillow which we always slept, and enjoy the bliss and peace which we enjoy as real Goans. But we have had some problems. And the problem is, once people have gone out, many have taken a registration of their birth in Portugal. And I have very candidly and honestly told people that the registration of the birth confers citizenship. You must not forget, passport is a travel document. Very often people have told me, but I don't have a passport. Many people in India don't have passports, but doesn't mean they are not Indians. Passport is only a travel document to travel overseas. Even within the country you don't require a passport. So the Portuguese law confers citizenship upon registration of your birth in Lisbon. And this is where many people believed that we don't have a passport, we won't apply for a passport, and therefore will still continue to be Indians. This is many times, many have felt this. And earlier, if you would know, the Portuguese government was giving what was known as a BI, they used to call that, Bilhete de Identidade. It was just an identity card, not knowing the underlying implications of it was also an acquisition of a foreign citizenship. So we have a situation in Goa because Goans were already Portuguese. Goa Damandiu was part of Portuguese colony. So when the government of India liberated Goa Damandiu, by citizenship order of 1962, the Indian citizenship was conferred upon these people who were already residing here and who were Portuguese nationals. So the problem now became, while they are by blood, birth, Portuguese citizens, they are conferred with or thrust upon with an Indian citizenship. Then question comes, what happens? If I was asked a straightforward question, it simply is, those people have not voluntarily acquired citizenship of a foreign country. So they would not fall into the trap of Article 9 of the Constitution of India, where a person who voluntarily acquires citizenship of a foreign country ceases to be an Indian national. But having said that, had they probably continued with it and probably gone to Portugal, things would have been different. But having remained here and thereafter being given Indian citizenship, went to register their births in Portugal, there came the complication. Because you have taken a positive step while being an Indian citizen to therefore seek allegiance with another country. And when you did that, you have voluntarily acquired citizenship of another country. So this becomes the conundrum which they had to face when they registered their births. Many, I also know, like father, mother, took also minor children and registered them. Naturally, those minors will not be liable until they have acted upon this same registration to further their cause by obtaining Portuguese passports or the Portuguese card, which now today they're giving Cartão de Cidadão, which is a citizenship card. They're giving that. The BI is not being given, the Cartão de Cidadão is being given. So once the Cartão de Cidadão is given, it confirms what you need not be told, it is a citizenship card. And those minors have an option of saying, I'm not interested, I want to retain the Indian citizenship. But what if you continue oblivious, you can always justify that I have not taken it voluntarily, I have not acted on it, and nor have I further taken any steps to either get a card or to get a passport, and I still continue to be in this country. But if you have progressed further to assert the rights under that registration, you can't turn around and say, I know nothing about it. Let's be honest on that. Nationality, and citizenship are generally two different words. And nationality is, you can be a person born, let us say, in Dubai, and you can be the national of Dubai, but you can be a citizen of India because your parents are Indian citizens, or either one parent is an Indian citizen. So citizenship, while is interchangeable, you can apply for and acquire different citizenship. Nationality is what you have when you were born. So with this kind of a situation which arises, Goan, the Portuguese law uses the word law of nationality. It doesn't use the word law of citizenship. So therefore we have to understand that the law of nationality, which is in Portugal, actually also gives you citizenship. And I will just read you certain provisions just for your understanding, and so that we are always very clear on these terms. First is Article 1, Portuguese by origin are the children of I'll just read in the relevant one, of Portuguese mother or father born abroad if they have their birth registered at the Portuguese civil registration, or if they declare that they want to be Portuguese. So when you are registering your birth or you make that declaration, that's the time you get this citizenship. Article 11 of that law also provides the effects of attribution of Portuguese nationality retroact to the time of birth without prejudice to the validity of juridical relations previously entered into under a different nationality. It means it relates back to your date of birth. That is why you are registering your birth. And it is subject to, of course, if that country from where you have come, that is, you are subject to something, you will be subject to it. Article 16 says, the declarations upon attributions, acquisition, or loss of nationality must be recorded in the national registry kept by the Central Registry Office. This is that registration which is being done. I saw there was an article in one of the newspapers, or it was probably on a TV interview, which tried to say that, and that was of my colleague, Advocate Radarao Gracias, who said that this is only an inscription of the birth, because your registration is done in Goa, you're only inscribing a birth in Portugal. This law, please be clear on it, this law speaks of registration of the birth, doesn't talk of the word inscription. It may be technical in inscription because you don't register a birth 2 times. You register initially and then you transcribe it over there. Like how when Goa was not part of India, people born out of Goa had to transcribe their birth under Article 245 of the Civil Registration Code in Goa to get effect of the Portuguese law. Now, Article 19 of this Portuguese law uses these words. The registration of an act that results in attribution, which attribution means attribution of the Portuguese nationality, acquisition or loss of nationality is made by inscription or annotations. So that's it. Your registration will be in the form of an inscription or annotations. So these are the things which you should know. And Article 21 speaks of this registration, and Article 22 speaks that the acquisition and loss of nationality are proved by the respective registrations or by the annotations added to the birth registration. So once we see these, then we know for sure these things happen. I happened to mention yesterday at Azad Maidan when there was a program. You see, what is happening is many people who have applied, and the Honorable Chief Minister may also kindly note in this aspect what is happening, that there are many people who have applied for this, obtained this citizenship or this registration of birth, and when they are going in for, actually they're not entitled to renew their passports, when they're asking for surrender of their passports, what is being done is, if you have held a registration of your birth and you say, I have done it, because the time limit of 2 years or 3 years which is there to surrender, and they have crossed it because many people have not known it. What they're doing is, they are revoking the passport and not cancelling it. The revocation is now creating a problem, because by revocation they are disentitling you to getting an OCI card. If you have a cancellation, they are allowing you, but when there's a revocation, they're not allowing. So this is now the problem which people are facing, because this is the first step. At least the OCI card gives you that unlimited entries and like an open visa to come into our country and go whenever you want, and time frame of residence and all is not there as on a visa. So this is the first step, I think, which we need to attend to. So at least as a stopgap measure, until the government of India can take a decision on the dual nationality, because I know that dual nationality is our focus. And dual nationality, see, as I mentioned, is if we want, people want to come back and we want to get our people back with whatever highest qualifications, if we keep the doors open, people will come back. If we close the doors, they will say, why would I come back to hostility? Why will I come back to just fight? And in this process, we see, when we travel around Goa, so many houses in ruins, so many houses, beautiful houses collapsing. In fact, even one of the videos where Simon was outside a ruined house. We were just wondering where it was, and a beautiful one. Lucian and I were trying to decode that, I would use that word. But it's that is the story of Goa, which you could see in picture, that this is what is happening, and our Goans are going, and then this kind of migration will not let another Goan come in, but others will come and change the entire demography of Goa. And therefore I feel that I know that it is not with the government of Goa to amend constitution, it's not with the government of Goa to amend Citizenship Act, but it is within the power of the government of Goa to make a recommendation to the government of India. And I would appeal to the Honorable Chief Minister, the NRI Commissioner also, and in this context, we had taken a decision few days back that we will move a resolution in the House to request the government of Goa to forward this resolution to the government of India for consideration of dual nationality, which will be in interest of people who have suffered this situation unwillingly, unknowingly, and fallen in this kind of what I call a trap, and thus lost their nationality, lost the citizenship of India, having left themselves in this, I would say, foxed out situation because they just registered. Some of them registered probably thinking that children will take benefit, and nobody has gone anywhere. They have not left the shores of Goa, but they are today going to be non-citizens and non-entities. And it is more dangerous, why I say? Because when you cancel the registration wherever you have made abroad in Lisbon, that's the biggest case, if you cancel, you don't automatically get Indian citizenship, because you could cancel and get Brazilian citizenship. Maybe you could cancel and get New Zealand citizenship. There's no presumption in law that you get back an Indian citizenship. And for this reason, what would happen is that you would have to come back legally into the country, stay for 7 years, apply, and by law, the grant or refusal of a citizenship is a political and administrative act. Please listen to these words carefully. It's a political and administrative act beyond the competence of courts. Even the court cannot ask you why you gave or why you refused. They can't ask you to produce the file, and the Supreme Court has held on this, because that can be foreign relations, security of the nation. Many reasons can be there, and they can't disclose in public domain. So the courts have said you can't call it. So therefore, our people who, if they cancel their registration, don't get back, they stand neither here nor there, and they face a bleak uncertainty. I will also advise those who think that what I'm saying may not be right, can check the birth registration which has been done, which has been cancelled, and after the cancellation there's an annotation below: perdeu nacionalidade portuguesa, which means lost Portuguese nationality. This is what is written at the foot the moment you have cancelled. So which means your registration gives you the nationality, which is the citizenship there, they use the word nationality, and the cancellation gives you total loss of the nationality. So therefore, our humble appeal to please think positively, and I know that we Goans are very good people, we are all peace-loving, and I know that our government is also having a soft corner for many of our Goans. They are trying to get the best people. We want to pull in the people who are holding such high positions, very highly intellectuals, highly qualified people. And I think that if we can do this step at a time, I know that we may not achieve this overnight. Because if you remember, when the Indian diaspora in 2000 had made a demand, before that they had made a demand for, when Vajpayee government was there was the demand of the Indian diaspora for dual citizenship. And the NDA government there, headed by our Prime Minister Vajpayee, had constituted LM Singhvi committee. And pursuant to that, the PIO card was introduced, the citizenship law was amended, Still there was a demand by saying it's not fulfilling the aspirations of the people. Then came the OCI card. After the OCI card, because there were two cards and creating confusion, both were merged into one. And now you have only that OCI card. With again amendments to the citizenship, I appeal to the government of Goa, I appeal to the Honorable Chief Minister and the NRI Commissioner also to take up this matter to ensure that the aspirations of many who are come, you can see that there are not just people who are here in the hall, there are many others who write expressing their desire to come back and to be part of their homeland once again. I will also share one small thing before I conclude. There was a lady who was staying in Salvador de Moon, and several years back, some person, a neighbor, came to me and told me this lady was in Pakistan. She's come back to Goa. She made her Aadhaar card. She made a ration card, everything. And I think during one of the surveys, someone found that she had come from Pakistan. And she was very old, and maybe 85, I think. And she came to my office like that with a stick and everything in the Panjim office. And what was the problem? She was being prosecuted for having obtained this Aadhaar card and ration card and all that. She had no one. She had her house. She had her house where she told me that's where my parents lived. And the story she told, I would have felt like crying. But since I see these cases, kind of cases, I'm a little stronger and I can withhold. But otherwise, it's a very sad story what she said and how she said. And the neighbor fortunately brought her. And then contacted her son who was a doctor in London. And I told that, what are you doing? Why are you keeping your mother here? Finally, I went to the judge. Let me be honest. I went to the judge and told the judge, it's a very sad story, but we don't know what to do. And where will you keep her? If you convict her, you're going to put her in jail at this age. So the judge said, I can do the maximum I can do. Penalize her for 5,000 rupees, but she must leave the country. And then I asked the son, this is the date of the judgment. You come and pay that 5,000 rupees and please take your mother. Please, I don't want her to be languishing in jail because otherwise she's overstaying illegally or staying illegally over here. And he came, poor fellow came, and he came with 3 children, and the poor 3 children were sleeping in my cabin. I think they were very tired with the travel. But the man came and took. There will be many people like this who are still here. You see, I would use the word abandoned sometimes by their children, by their families, and they live alone. What about them? So therefore I appeal, look at it from a humane side, look at it with sympathy, with empathy as it deserves. And I think that we will be able to. I know the Honorable Chief Minister to be very positive-minded, and he can definitely deliver and assure us that something good can come out. Thank you very much.